Hi everyone, welcome to video number 3, and the title of this is God Trains His People in Deserts. So one of the first things the Lord ever spoke to me personally that I can recall, and it was back around 1985, and I was reading through Isaiah chapter 40 verse 3, which says, "A voice calls in the desert, prepare the way for the Lord." And as I was reading it, I read it the way it is commonly quoted from the New Testament. And in the New Testament, it reads, "A voice of one calling in the desert, prepare the way for the Lord." And so I'm reading it, and my brain just automatically went with the New Testament version. And suddenly it felt like the Lord sort of grabbed me and he said, "Punctuation." What? He said, "Punctuation. I put it there for a reason." And I read it again. And in the Isaiah passage, it properly reads, "A voice calls, pause, in the desert, prepare the way for the Lord." And he said, "I train my people in deserts." See, in the New Testament, the focus of what was being said out of that prophetic passage was on John the Baptist being the voice calling in the desert, preparing the way for the Lord. But in the Isaiah passage, the way it reads is actually a clue to how God trains his people. And he trains his people in deserts. Now, it might not be a literal desert, though I got to say the first 3 years of my teaching career felt like it. It was way out in the middle of wherever. And I can absolutely guarantee for you personally, it will be a desert, whether it's a desert of friends, of relationships, of location, of just being removed out of the spiritual atmosphere where you found things really easy and blessed. And all of a sudden, it's like everything's gone and heck, what am I doing? And God does this very, very deliberately. And how long you're in the desert depends a lot on what He's called you to do and what you've given Him permission to do in your life. And many of us have responded. We read Isaiah 6, "Who will I go? Who will we send for us?" And "Here I am, Lord, send me." And of course, if we had the vaguest inkling of what that was going to cost us over, in some cases, decades, we probably wouldn't have put our hand up quite so quick. But God calls things that are not as though they are. And He's pretty faithful to kill us regardless of where we think we should be and need to be. The flip side of this is, while you're in the desert, anything you do to try and get yourself out is going to make the whole process longer. Impatience is one of the worst problems for so many people, especially people called to have some form of a ministry. You know, the Lord shows you something and it looks like it's right here, and we want to launch out and do it, and we have no idea how unprepared we are to actually do that thing at that time. And part of the whole process of training is learning to wait until the Lord opens the door and establishes you. And that leads directly into video 4, which is coming up and probably be the next one, on premature inheritance. Okay, so if you're in the desert, be patient. Remember the last video, number 241, right? 40 days, 40 years, whatever it is. The John Paul Sandford used to say that the Hebrews believed it took 25 years to train a prophet. Okay, Moses, remember, had 40. That was after he'd been trained in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. 40 years sitting in the wilderness looking after sheep. So be patient. God has not forgotten you. Stay in a place of humility, repentance, and the fear of the Lord, and take the few opportunities you have and do as best you can and as faithfully as you can with those. Do not judge by looking at other people and the ministry they have, the blessing they have at the moment, because it's not your time yet. Okay, so God trains his people in deserts. Get used to it, resign yourself to it, and keep praising him regardless of your circumstances. Have a good day.